Welcome back to Off Limits with Elle Daly. I'm your host, Ellen Roers, and happy you've joined for today's episode. This episode is deeply personal as it's dedicated to my dear baby brother, Patrick Jeffrey Roers. He tragically passed away about a year ago on January 8th of 2024. It's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him, and just saying his name, like I said, brings a smile to my face. He was one that if you knew him, you loved him. And his tragic passing really made a lot of my family, friends, acquaintances think about life in a different way of how short it truly is and how you just need to enjoy your loved ones while they're here. I always think about how funerals are often the time we share about all of the memories and the joy that they brought into our lives versus telling that person while they were here. And that was my biggest regret is I know he knew how much I loved him, but did I say it enough? I often wonder that, right? But we can't beat ourselves up over that, but that was one of the hardest things for me. So today, I don't want to necessarily talk fully about Patrick. I'll have some kind of stories at the end about him or some of the um, examples that I want to share there. But today, I want to make it about all of us because all of us at some point have gone through grief and loss. It's something that we all encounter, whether it's a death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or even a life altering health diagnosis, just to name a few. And I know there's a lot of other types of loss that we all go through. So, to kick off the podcast, I want to start with one of the quotes that really stayed with me during this journey. It's simple, it's short, and it's sweet. Grief is love with no place to go. It's as simple as it is. Grief is love with no place to go. It's a reminder that the pain we feel reflects the deep love we've experienced. And I think it's a joy that we're able to experience such a love. And I look at it and I think, even though I went through this painful grieving process and I'm still going through it with the loss of Patrick, I would never, ever want to miss out on the opportunity to love him. And I'm sure all of you can think of a situation, even maybe it was a marriage that you've lost through divorce. There is something about it where most of the time, it's like you still hold on to the love that you experienced during the early days, or maybe you had kids together and you just look at it as like, well, yes, it's a loss. I'm grieving that part of my life, but I would never necessarily want to get rid of those memories because they're always a part of us. So let's define loss and grief quickly. I know we know them, but it's always good to hear it. Loss isn't just about death, it's the ending of something we once held dear, a relationship, a job, our health, or life we envisioned, as I just talked about. Grief, on the other hand, is the emotional process we go through to adapt to that loss. And that's the journey. As Helen Keller, she's another favorite of mine. I did a report on her in grade school. She has said, or once said, what you once enjoyed and deeply loved will never go away, for all that we love deeply becomes a part of us. So, grief is really that love we carry forward, and it's a part of us forever. I'm happy that I have the love of my baby brother, and I hope you feel the same way about the loss that you've gone through. So let's take a moment to recognize the different types of loss. So it's losing the loved one, is probably the most universally recognized. But then there's also the grief of a breakup, losing your health, realizing your life will take a different turn or different direction that you expected. And I will say that grief comes in many, many forms, but the common thread is the love and the attachment that we feel is now gone. So that is that loss of what was once there. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross has the 5 phases of grief, how we get through it. And this is nothing linear. You're going up and down through these different stages and phases. So, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and even acceptance. I think I'm still even in that little bit of an anger phase. The way he died, I get mad thinking about the shooter. I'm definitely in denial, which denial helps me to just cope through the day. Some of that feeling of denial is being surreal. Everything feels a bit surreal. Like, did this really happen? And I think at some point I have become to accept it, or I've started to accept it, but again, this is just a journey. You don't ever graduate from one phase to the next. It's just ebb and flows, grief of ebb and flows. And it's really important to give yourself that grace because grief is a journey that will maybe never go away. And that heartache and the heartbreak never maybe goes away, but it just gets different. Every day is different and it gets better. It does get better with time. And I think for me, I have to get out of that moment of anger and depression. I do better just holding on to his memories, the sweet memories. And I think for me, it helps me to know, you know what? He wouldn't want you to be sad. He'd want you to live life to the fullest and honor him in that way. So, to any of you that have experienced loss of a loved one, I hope that you're in that phase where you feel like you can really honor them by living your best life because I guarantee they would want that for you. Not to say that I ever want to push you along in your phases because I want to honor and respect where you're at, but I'm just sending you lots of love during this time. So let's talk a little bit about how can we support someone grieving. It's hard to know how to support someone grieving. I know I now going through it, I know what I would say and do to support someone. But before I lost my brother, I had only lost grandparents, which felt at appropriate day or age for them to go. They were well into their 80s, lived a long, good life. But I think when somebody's passed or you know that a friend or a family member is grieving someone that um anytime it's hard, I guess. It doesn't matter the age, does it? Because loss is loss. But many people worry that they'll say the wrong thing. So they often say nothing at all. Silence can feel like an abandonment. I know if you've been there, you know how this feels. But if you haven't been there, I just want to reiterate how silence can truly feel like abandonment. And I've learned that acknowledging somebody's grief, no matter how imperfectly, how crazy it is, like the tragic loss of my brother, it is better than avoiding the topic altogether. Acknowledging their grief versus avoidance is much better. So that's why this podcast was created in general to talk about things that are off limits. It's off limits, right? What to avoid. Here's what I would say: don't avoid the topic of their loss. Don't say, "Oh, I know how you feel," because you really don't, right? I know for me, I would never, just because I lost my brother, I don't think I would tell another individual that lost someone, "I know how you feel." Actually, one of my girlfriends, I love, oh, she's so sweet. I met her in Austin, Texas. She moved out to North Carolina. She's just amazing. And we were both single at the time in Austin. And the last 3 years, I've followed her journey. She met, excuse me, sorry, you can tell I've been stuffed up here. Um, she, yeah, I followed her journey. She met a really great guy. They're just so cute together. He's the love of her life. And sadly, December 13th, he passed. And I saw it on Facebook and my heart was crushed, like broken for her. I thought, holy mackerel, I don't even know how she's coping because I was so happy that she found someone that she loved and admired. And they were like two peas in a pod. And I thought I have to say something, but I actually started with, I don't know how you must feel right now. I can't imagine. Can't imagine the loss that you must be feeling because I know with my brother's loss, I was heartbroken. So to lose your best friend and your lover at the same time is just, I don't even have any words other than I'm here for you if you want to talk. So, yes, please don't avoid the topic of their loss because that it's so hard if you're just not even addressing it. And I would say don't disappear after the funeral of a major event too. So the hardest days often come after everybody else has gone back to their lives. That's when the loneliness really sets in. So I know right now she's feeling a lot of love and support because it's pretty new, but I'll definitely be sure to check in with her in the months ahead because she'll feel that loneliness and feel like, wow, it starts to really settle in. So definitely avoid that. And so, what are some actionable advice that we can do to support? I think it's as simple as this. So what do you say? It's a simple, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through, but I'm here for you. That just goes so far. And you can always ask, do you want to talk about it? And if they don't, that's okay. But just know that I'm here, I'm present, I'm willing to listen, and that can mean anything to them or everything to them, I should say. So again, check in regularly, even if it's months later. Grief does not have a timeline. You know, quick personal story. When Patrick passed, I absolutely felt frozen in time. The rest of the world kind of moved on. Friends drifted away a bit, maybe because they didn't know what to say or how to handle me. And not that I stayed very positive. I think I got that a lot too. It's interesting. Some folks were like, "How are you? I think you're in denial." When I would talk about it, a lot of times they would almost be like, "How are you so functioning right now too?" And I think it was the way I was coping and grieving. So I think some are like, wow, she's handling this far too well. um but I think, yeah, people just it's an off limit topic, right? This is a really off limit topic, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. So I would so love to hear your thoughts in the comments and let me know, have you been on this journey of loss and grief? Have you had to support others through it? What is your kind of words of wisdom? What helped you through it? How would you recommend supporting somebody through these loss, or this grieving and loss? Um, yeah, it's such a personal journey. One more personal story, I think, of one of my dear friends from high school. She lost her brother definitely unexpectedly. I won't give you the full stories, but he was young, he was married with two beautiful kids, a beautiful wife. And my girlfriend's or my friend from high school was her only brother. I have at least many siblings, so it doesn't feel quite as lonesome, knowing I have other siblings to lean on during the loss. But I remember that feeling because I didn't know what it was like to lose a love like this. And I thought, how is she going to get through it? I'm like, I can't imagine pushing forward. But it's weird. Once you're in that situation, you put one foot in front of the other and you get through it somehow. And I remember though thinking when I found this news out, I'm like, how do I support her? What am I going to do? And I was a bit like, I just want to find the right words. I don't even have the words. So looking back, I wish I knew now what I know. And I would have just said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I'm here for you. I can't imagine what you're going through. I just want to let you know that I'm here anytime you need me. And that's that. So I just want to keep it short and sweet today. And I want to send you so much love if you're going through this. I want to thank you for being here and sharing this moment with me. If you can take one thing away from the episode, let it be this. Grief is not a problem to be fixed or avoided. It's a testament to the love we've experienced. So, as we close, I want to leave you with the Irish blessing, a reflection of love, hope, and connection. This is a beautiful blessing that we said at Patrick's funeral. So, it's very near and dear to my heart. So, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The sun, well, oh, okay. I forgot the words, but I know it's may the sun shine warm upon your face. Oh, yeah. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. So, thank you for listening to Off Limits. Let's continue to honor and love each other in all forms, even when it's marked by loss. I'll see you next time. Sending you so much love.